Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Kyrie Irving just put on a masterful fourth quarter performance, but didn't box out on the final play. You just gotta put a body on Jason Tatum in that situation, and Jason Tatum, of course, was able to skate by him for a masterful cut into the paint, and was able to get the shot off in time at the buzzer to end Game One of these 2022 NBA playoffs. Man, I am just in awe of what I just saw. You saw two teams fighting back and forth, old school style, physical basketball. Some of the most physical basketball I've seen all season long. And, I give the referees credit. They were consistent throughout the entire game. They did not whistle at all. They didn't care anything about who was bleeding, who got hit with a screen, who's hobbling, none of that. They were not calling anything, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. That's the type of basketball we need to see. If guys are playing for something, make them fight for something. And so that's what we saw. I think this series is going 7. I told you guys I think it could come down to one possession in this particular series, and nothing after that first game made me feel any different about my pick. I said Boston in 7, and it'll probably come down to like a Marcus Smart steal or something like that. I love what the Boston Celtics did in terms of what they threw at KD today. They did not allow him to maneuver very much. A majority of that physical play was pointed in his direction, and they just kind of removed him from the game early, stealing the ball from him repeatedly in the first quarter. He had like 5 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the first quarter. Like, they just forced all of those turnovers. It wasn't like he was doing anything wrong necessarily. It was just his actions weren't fast enough, and they were catching him off the weak side, stealing the ball and heading the other direction. So that was a recipe for success. He had one of the worst games you'll ever see KD play, but Kyrie Irving was able to hold him down. I mean, Kyrie just, if I'm not mistaken, he had like 18 points in the fourth quarter, 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. He was doing so much good out there. But, they could not keep those Celtics off the glass. You got to give Al Horford all the credit in the world. You would think that since they don't have Robert Williams out there, they would have issues in the paint, but not when an old wily vet like Al Horford's in there. A guy like Daniel Tice as well. Those guys are just good enough to give Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown enough rim protection to keep things going. Derek White was very active in this game as well. Marcus Smart, of course, we mentioned his name. He's always active. I saw some good things from Claxton. That was who was impressive on the offensive side of the ball. He really was continuing to get offensive glass and crash the glass, of course, dunking the ball and making sure he was available for his team defensively as well, blocking shots and things of that nature. You just like what you saw from him. But all in all, I was not surprised by what I saw. Brooklyn is going to have a very tough time with this Celtics team as is, with everybody. But without Ben Simmons out there helping them defensively, they just don't have enough. I don't have enough for Boston this year. Boston, after making that Derek White trade, I think officially gave themselves too many weapons for a team like Brooklyn without 100% of their guys out there. And the thing that I don't like about what Brooklyn's doing is they've shrunk their bench a little too much. Now, as you know, I'm not big on having vets on my team or even have them play too many minutes at all. But when you consider what they're lacking in size out there, you should consider the advantage they could give themselves if they were to play Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. Even moderate amount of minutes would help them a lot. So I just don't think Steve Nash is giving himself the best opportunity to utilize his weapons out there. You gotta let Blake Griffin get some minutes in this series. You gotta let LaMarcus Aldridge get some minutes in this series. And now I love foot speed. I love youth. I definitely believe in giving Claxton minutes. I definitely believe in utilizing everything that you can in terms of speed. And I don't think Blake and LA give you that. But what they can give you is experience. What they can give you is someone who will stretch the floor. Both of those guys can hit the three. And that helps. That gives Kyrie a bit more space to work. That gives KD yet another threat out there offensively. So I just feel like Boston came in there with a great game plan. They had more weapons. They had stronger players. And it showed. And you're going to need to get a lot more out of guys like Patty Mills and Brown and Dragic. They're all going to have to play at a higher level than what they did tonight in order for the Nets to have enough, in my opinion. Boston's just going to keep coming, and you could clearly see that they're focused. They're focused. They're ready to play physical basketball, and they're not going to just roll over. They obviously are spirited behind Kyrie Irving being disrespectful to their logo a while back, and no one's forgotten that his tenure there wasn't positive. Let's just call it what it is. So even though he came out and put on a hell of a performance, at the end of the day, there needs to be an emphasis on the defensive side of the ball for the Nets. There need to be an emphasis on detail in terms of things like boxing out and just making sure you crash the glass and stuff like that. If they can't shore that up, and Boston continues to be successful in their defensive schemes, this series may not even go as far as 7. Because clearly they're throwing bodies at KD, but KD is going to be beat up throughout the duration of this series. He's not getting any room to move. Every time he catches the ball, he has a body on him with a body to the left of him or to the right of him, depending on which direction they think he's going. It's just a wall at all times, and they're sending people at him, try to steal the ball from him, and things of that nature. So I don't expect that to change. So Steve Nash is going to have to make some serious adjustments to where KD's catching the ball and what actions he has KD making going forward. Because, Udoka is not playing. He has a very good plan for KD, and it seems like they're just going to let Kyrie do whatever Kyrie does. And another thing I saw was a couple blow-bys. Guys like Marcus Smart had situations where he was paired on Kyrie and was able to blow by him. They're going to have to figure out how they can help put Kyrie in lineups that allow for more defensive help and more rim protection, because those blow-bys are going to continue. That's not going to change as long as you have him switched out on players that are faster than him without rim protection. That's 2 points. It just is what it is. So, I see holes. That's why I picked the Celtics in the first place. It's not because I don't believe in KD and Kyrie. It's no different than that Atlanta-Miami series. I see it the same way. It doesn't matter about what kind of closers you have. If the rest of these players can't keep it close for those closers to kill at the end, then it doesn't matter. It won't be a close game for them to work with. So tonight they had a close game, but again, small details, and they are the difference. That last little box out. I've seen many games lost in situations like this where you do everything right for 47 minutes, but that last play or those last 2 plays, you don't pay attention to the detail. You didn't do the smallest thing. You didn't hit a free throw or, something like that, and it will cost you. And that can be the difference. The team that pays attention to the smallest detail and plays for 48 full minutes will ultimately get the best result out of their efforts. So that's what we've seen tonight. Boston Celtics got the victory there. I'm going to get ready to watch this. Next one, obviously, we got Chicago and Milwaukee coming up. I think I gave Chicago an opportunity to get a game or 2, no more than 6. Milwaukee should be too much for them, but even though I do like Chicago's weapons and some of those guys are coming back that haven't been there in a while, we'll see if Lonzo Ball has any minutes in this series. I don't know his status at all. Don't know, but for me, if he's 100%, that will give the Bulls enough to compete. But without him, I just don't think they have enough. So that's how I'm looking at that series. And I'm looking very much forward to the Pels, man. Big Pels. How I feel about that team this year. I want to see them get as far as they can go. Obviously, they're running to the Suns, so I don't have much hope there. But, they got some guys that I think can make names for themselves. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do out there. And last but not least, as we mentioned, the Miami, I watched half of that game. It wasn't much to see. Just wasn't surprised, without Clint Capella. They just have too much. Miami has way too many weapons for Atlanta and poor little Trey, man. Trey's going to be able to kill if you keep it close. But if he doesn't have his weapons, which he doesn't, it's not going to work. But Collins coming back into that series does help. Him returning definitely helps, but he's going to have to be himself in order for the tide to change. So if he can get back to scoring 30 points and doing this thing, I'll give them an opportunity to get an extra game in the series. But if not, I'm sticking to my notion that they're going to be swept up out of there. So that's what it is, man. We'll see what happens. You guys feel free to go check out those videos I've done. I've broken down my thoughts on each and every series. Some of my picks will surprise people. Most of them I didn't deviate from what I think is conventional here, not too often anyway. So that's what I got. BDL 44. Enjoy playoff basketball. Out.